Let me ask you in the framework of chores. So where do chores and rules as well and boundaries fit into healthy communication? Because I think this is where like the real friction can start, right? Because I mean, I'm sure you got 13, I'm almost at 13, and it's like, oh, you need to do this, chore. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it never. You can't make me at times. And I always come back to as a parent, like, we are a family, and to have the benefits of a family, we all have to put in the work of a family. At some point, that's going to get old to him. He's not going to buy it anymore from me. But right now, he gets it that like there's a lot of benefits, but we get to enjoy the benefits because we all put in the work. You don't get the benefits of a family without the efforts of a family. But for parents who are listening that are like, I run into the same thing, like chores. My kids, like, I'm not going to do it, going to do it never, or it turns into a screaming match. Like, chores are necessary. Well, let's start there. Why are chores necessary, and how can we communicate effectively to help our children take the responsibility of chores?
So chores are necessary because if you're living in an environment, you should all contribute to bettering and maintaining the environment. It's part of your responsibility. Everybody has to chip in. So it's teaching your kid that when you are occupying a space, everyone should contribute to maintaining that space. You use dishes, you put them in the dishwasher. You wear clothes, you wash them. You use the toilet, you flush it. Like, you all are part of the community. So it gives them a sense of, it's a community type environment where we all have a say in terms of how we all live. So it's just a basic, feels like a human right in a sense, that you're all contributing to the environment. And it also teaches responsibility. It teaches your child that a skill set. It helps them to know that, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do my own laundry. Again, because then once they leave your home, do they know how to do the basic things, how to cook a basic meal for themselves, how to figure out what to make based on the ingredients that they do have, how to clean a toilet, how to do the laundry, how to sort, like, these skills are necessary. So in order to have teenagers who grow up to be self-sufficient adults, chores help them get there. It helps them feel good about themselves and contributing to that. When there's a struggle with parents and teens with kids doing chores, again, I always go back to getting curious as to why. Whenever there's a problem with someone being able to do something, instead of looking at the behavior and punishing it, we have to get curious about what is preventing them from showing up as their best self. What's preventing them from doing the thing that they need to do? So if they have a hard time cleaning their room because cleaning the room feels overwhelming, that's the curious part. Because it's easy to say, well, why didn't you clean your room? Well, I didn't feel like it. No phone for a week.
Yeah.
Well, now you haven't even gotten to the root of the issue. And that's why I talk about executive function skills. Like, when you're cleaning a room, it requires organization and planning and task initiation and memory and processing speed and follow through. It requires emotional regulation, frustration tolerance. There's a lot of executive function skills that are needed to just clean a room. So it is that hard if you have a kid with neurodevelopmental disorder or diagnosis, with challenges in certain executive functioning skills. So doing a basic task can feel monumental. So then getting curious about, well, what's hard about it? Well, I start and then I get distracted. Or I want to start, but I would rather be watching YouTube. Or I start and then it looks messier than when I started. So that all is data. It gives you information about, oh, that sounds like organization. Oh, that sounds like task initiation. That sounds like poor attention. That sounds like processing speed, whatever's going on. So then you can implement things that could be helpful. So if they have a hard time doing it because they get distracted, then you can body double with them, which means you're just there, present, and you're serving like a foreman in a sense, where you're, okay, you get the books and I'll get the dirty clothes. All right, great. Okay, now you get the laundry that's clean and hang it up, and I will put the rest in the laundry basket so you can take it downstairs. Or just being present with them while they do it. So that way your presence helps them stay more focused. So whatever it is that or setting a timer. Okay, let's see how much you can get done in 15 minutes. Or let's listen to music while we do it. Or put your friend on FaceTime and you both clean your room together. So it's just getting curious about what's getting in the way of getting the task done, like a chore, and bringing something enjoyable or fun or accountability partner in order to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a mastermind that I'm a part of. And when they first started, at different times of the week, they would have a power hour. And when I first showed up, they were like, okay, so what are you all working on for the next hour? And then we'll just do it, whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm like, how is this helpful? And I'm like, oh, okay, I see how it's helpful, because maybe it's the thing that you've been procrastinating on or something that you just needed someone present. And it's amazing how much you could get done just because you have 10, 15, 20 other people on the line, knowing that they're going to check in the last 5 minutes to see, did you get it done?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing that we're doing with this chore thing, that we have to get curious about why our teen is not doing it, and then help them get past that roadblock rather than putting in more roadblocks or slapping on a punishment that has nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, if you were, in the context of this entire conversation we've been having, if you were to challenge people listening right now, parents, to do one thing daily over the next 7 days to improve their relationship with their teen, what would be that thing?
Delighting in them and their presence.
Well, okay, so define delight, because I actually recently it's become something I'm aware of, that most people don't even know what delight is. People know what joy is, what happiness is, but delight is a very specific word.
Yeah. Every time I say it, it brings a smile to my face, because to me, I equate it with unconditional love and acceptance. That you just enjoy them simply because they exist. That you're not trying to change them. You're not trying to make them a different version of themselves. You're just enjoying them. So it would be like, I remember when my kids were little, my daughter, she's 15 now, and she would, when she would sit, she would twirl her feet like helicopters, helicopter blades. And I just thought that was so cute. I'm like, oh, I love the way you twirl your feet. Or my son would sit on his feet and then his little toes would stick out and I'd be boop, I'm just delighting. Or things that they do now where the way my son sneezes, I think is the cutest thing. Or the way my daughter laughs, like just delighting in the things they do and delighting in their presence and just finding them just so wonderful to be around, that you truly enjoy them as a person. And I feel like what's hard about doing that for a lot of us as parents, myself included, because when we're going through a rough spot with our teenagers, it's hard to do that. Well, I can't delight in them because they need to clean their room. Or, I can't be delighting in them because they just cuss me out or roll their eyes or slam the door or didn't do their chores. How can I delight in them when they can't even do what they're supposed to do? Well, but that's the thing about unconditional love. It's not based on conditions. Delighting and loving someone regardless of how they show up is a huge gift, because a lot of us don't get it. And a lot of acceptance is conditional, and a lot of teenagers experience that. Friends accept me only when I dress a certain way, or when I have the latest phone, or when I make good grades, or whatever it is, then I'm accepted. But to be loved and just known and seen simply in all the messiness of how you show up is a huge gift. And I think that's what, to me, delighting is just enjoying their presence simply because they exist, not for anything they do or try to be. It's just because they exist.
What do you think is the potential of somebody? So people listening, I'd love to hear what happens if you accept this challenge. What happens at the end of 7 days? But what is some potential that could be the outcome if 7 days consecutively you're delighting in this teen that lives in your house? What could be the outcomes?
So there's a few. One is you have a stronger relationship and bond where they tell you things and they're not sneaky about things.
We love that.
Right. Another one is they want to connect in ways that are significant and important. So whether it's the more honesty, but they're doing things because if you feel like someone really loves you, enjoys you, and for just how you show up, then there's no need to be any different. There's no need to draw attention in negative ways because you know that you are accepted as you are. So a lot of those negative behaviors and those bids for attention that are very negative tend to decrease. Another one is I think overall you just see a lot of less negative behavior, because what I find is behavior tends to worsen because that teen doesn't feel heard. So they get louder in their behavior and their actions and their words. Well, you're not seeing me for who I am, or I'm not acceptable to you. So then the volume gets turned up. But if I'm just being loved and delighted in as who I am, I don't need to do all that stuff because I'm seen for who I am. And so I find that those things improve. And so, yeah, I think the bottom line is you tend to see improvement in behavior, but the more important part is that there's an improvement in the relationship. Because when you have a relationship with someone that you feel like they care about you, there's no need to act a fool. There's no need to act up because they love you for who you are. And I hear that from parents, from teachers, that when you have a bond with that student, with that kid, you do see less behavioral issues because why would you act up with someone who you know likes you?
Yeah. You titled your book, Love the Teen You Have. And I think it's a brilliant title, but I'm wondering, where did that come from? Because you've worked with like thousands of families. So what made you choose that?
Well, a big part of it was I had a post several years ago and I had several organizations reach out to me with that thing about, one of the posts was stop parenting fake children, or no, stop fighting fake battles, stop parenting imaginary children. And it's that whole idea that, well, why are you having a fight about the messy room? And why are you disagreeing about whether or not your kid is depressed or if it's hormones? Or like, why are you doing all this fighting? Why are you fighting all these battles of things that are just not important, that don't matter in the long run? And so I wanted to move away from the what you shouldn't do and more of what you should do. I always feel like it's more powerful to move. What is the movement towards the positive area? And so Love the Teen You Have is really about the delight. It's just loving who's in front of you, parenting the child in front of you. And that brings about more connection and less conflict. So a lot of that is just from my own personal experiences in parenting my own teens and the teens that I work with, and seeing how healing was possible in therapy with teenagers because they felt accepted where they were by me as their psychologist, and then from their parents, just loving them where they were, even in the midst of all the messiness, and how it really transformed them and how it transforms relationships. Another big part of it was a more personal reason is when I was a teenager and I was struggling with my mom being a single mom. I was the youngest in the family. When I was struggling, my mom didn't fully understand what I was going through. She couldn't relate. She was going through her own stuff, and it led to a lot of rebellion in me and feeling like I wasn't heard. And I didn't want other teenagers and parents to go through what we went through. Our relationship has healed since. And when she heard about my book and I showed it to her, she's like, this is the book that I wish I had when I was parenting you.
Oh, wow.
And so
huge.
It's huge. And so I'm like, should I be complimented or insulted? What's that mean? What's that mean?
You're like, I needed to write the book for my mom to raise me.
Right. But it was more that, all these countless families that I've seen struggle, this is the 20 years of the culmination of information and expertise and education that I've done, that I want to be able to want parents and teenagers to know that loving your parent, loving your teenager is possible and that you can heal. And it's never too late, because the book is for parents of tweens and teens. So 9 to 19, the whole range.
Seriously, start at 9. Anyone, if you're listening, like, this is something that I love that you just said that. I'm sorry I didn't know, because like, seriously, I wish that at 9, I started prepping for the change of parenting, how I needed to adapt, rather than what then landed in my lap at 11. And then I was like, oh, not ready for this. Actually, let me say, I hired you. So for people listening, I interviewed you. And after that interview, I told my husband, I'm like, I'm hiring her. We need to work with her.
Well, and because there are some girls who hit puberty at 9 and 10. They're hitting their period. They're getting the whole hormonal stuff. They're getting the mood changes, and they are in full blown, feels like teenage phase at an earlier and earlier phase. So I think it's really encompassing all that stuff. And I want to make sure that teens and parents don't feel like well, I'm hated by my parents, or that my teenager hates me. That every time I've worked with teenagers and they feel that way, they've always been proven wrong. It is not that they hate you, that there's this conflict that cannot be resolved. So that's the beauty behind the title, and the motivation is my struggles that I went through as well. And I don't want other parents to go through that. I want them to feel equipped so that we can change that, and that could be different for them.
If you enjoyed this conversation, then I definitely want you to check out this.